Hey everyone, it's Sarah here, and while I'm waiting for the little one to wake up, I wanted to share with you something that has happened, and I was anticipating it to happen when we came here to Slovenia, and I want to shine a light on it because I see it very common in the growth process. The sequence of events, the range of emotions, and then a very simple decision that can change, and not just can, does change everything for you. So my mom and I are very close together, and I'm going to share this very personal story here. My mom and I are very close together. Even though we live 4,000 miles apart, we talk pretty much every day. One thing that I really appreciate is that she keeps me on my toes, right? I want to be better. I want to become better. But at the same time, that triggers me very much because it feels like I used to believe that it was never good enough. She never said anything about it. She always has said, how she would be proud of my sister and I for doing things and creating things and accomplishing things and stuff like that. She never said ever, well, you could do better than that or anything of that nature. So that notion, that belief was only my belief because I always felt that there was something between the lines that was not really being said out loud. That when she would make a comment, well, but you said you would, dot, 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 that it was more of a reminder, right? Kind of poking around with the needles. So when we came here, I got myself ready that I'm going to be in her environment, that there are going to be misunderstandings, that we will set the ground rules, we will set the framework and parameters, because she needs, her own space, I need my own space. She has her own way of doing things, I have my way of doing things. Very natural, right? Well, there was a clash of the titans, so to speak. And it all started with a very simple comment that she made that triggered everything in me. And the comment was, well, you said you would, dot, dot, dot. What it did to me was brought up every single time I broke promise to myself. Whether it was to go, I don't know, wake up at 5 in the morning to go for a run, whether it was sticking to a diet, whether it was, I don't know, selling something or creating something or hosting something or even teaching something to the kids. Every single one of those memories was brought up. And it was almost like, when you pop a balloon and the confetti comes out. That's how it felt. I'm only sharing this with you because I have worked through this now, and I'm in a place where I can reflect back and shine a light without the story, and maybe use it as a teaching moment for you in case you're going through something like this. So, hey Kathleen. So what actually happened was that she wanted to express something and was unsure how to express it. But because she triggered something in me, I didn't see it as a objective statement. I saw it as a personal attack, and I internalized it. I took on her inability and make it my own flaw, which is totally a story. And it brought up all the other stories around it. So when you work through that, good morning. The reason why I wanted to share this with you is because we can't avoid events in our lives where our buttons don't get pushed, or where people don't piss us off, or when somebody says something and it really, really gets you, even though that might not be your nature, right? I never play victim. But this time I felt like, my goodness, what the heck? So when you are in this space, what the next thing is for you to do is to really take it apart. Is it really true, the story that you're telling yourself? Are those beliefs really true? For example, in my case, I felt that I couldn't trust myself, that I had broke all those promises. But the case is, when I was able to go through everything, I was like, what the hell? I'm a freaking powerhouse. I do what I said that I would do every single time. I said I would move to New York 14 years ago. I moved it. I created my company when I said I would do it. I made it successful when I said I would do it. I took care of the kids, raising them bilingual. I said I would do it. I'm doing it. I said back in June that I would come here to Slovenia for about 4 months. I am freaking doing what I said that I would do, and I always have, and I always will. But the thing is, when you go and look for the evidence, your mind, of course, and ego are always going to go find those negative stuff. But you have a choice. Are you going to be on the negative side of the fence? Because if you choose to believe in the negative, then of course the reality you'll be creating is going to be uncertain. All the things are going to be falling apart, and life is going to create even more opportunities for you to prove it to yourself that you really cannot trust yourself, right? When you're breaking the promises, when you said you would do something and you don't, and you are recreating it over and over and over again. You are reliving that story. But now that you have the knowledge and you have the understanding that you have the choice to choose the thoughts, to choose which outlook you're going to take, which evidence is that you're going to be looking for, you can now recreate everything and empower yourself. Give yourself a permission to, instead of judging yourself and blaming yourself, acknowledge and appreciate and be grateful for the opportunities that were learning experiences that allowed you to realize that you are a freaking powerhouse, that you do, that's the case, keep your promises, that you do manifest like a mad woman, that you do whatever you said that you would do, right? Look for those evidence. And in case of trusting yourself, if you're not to be trusted, you wouldn't be roaming around free. You're probably going to be institutionalized somewhere. If you can't trust yourself, well, do you feed yourself? Are your kids dressed and taken care of? Well, obviously you can trust yourself, right? So it was a very, very interesting experience for me because it started with something seemingly so innocent as a comment in a conversation from my mom, but for some reason it really triggered me because it was the exact thing that I have been really working on when I was uncovering a couple of other things in my business. When I was like, well, I really wanted to create this, and I felt resistance and I felt fear coming up, and I felt that I was changing direction, and I was like, well, why is it what's going on? And I wanted to understand it deeper, and I tapped into that issue. So it was brought into my awareness, and in that situation, it's like, okay, yep, there it is. This is the one we're going to work on. We're going to unpack it. We're going to prove it wrong, and we're going to be able to move on. So the thing that you do then, it's called identity hacking, that really goes to say, like my mentor said it yesterday, you cannot look for the evidence of your future self looking into your past. So what identity hacking does essentially is it allows you to tap into the essence of yourself at the moment in time when you accomplish that one thing, or you feel that you are the person that you always wanted to become, when you have conquered something major, when you have created something major, and you tap into that and you recreate it and you prove it to yourself that you actually already are that person, that you already have those qualities, those things around you. It's just about looking for the evidence and internalizing those. So when my mentor and I did that exercise, I was really aware that there was something that I wasn't able to connect. On the intellectual level, I knew it was there, but emotionally in my physical body did not connect the dots yet. What it took was to ask the same question essentially, in many different ways. And it was such a powerful moment when she said, okay, so if I ask you like this, what would you say? And I start to, I said, and then I lost it. I absolutely lost it. And it was like a weight lifted off my shoulders. And I was like, oh, freaking amazing. So, the reason again why I wanted to share this with you is, first and foremost, it sounds amazing to some people when I say, well, I'm going to Europe for 4 months. I'm doing it, right? But there's a lot of emotional baggage attached. There's a lot of stories attached to it. And there's a lot of things that I came here to really work on, to really do the work. It's not just being on vacation. Moving the kids, of course, there's the guilt attached. It's not just the bliss and playfulness and all the fun stuff, right? It also comes with all the negative stuff, because you can't be happy if you can't express and feel sadness, right? So acknowledging every single thing. I knew that by changing the environment, by changing the time zones, by changing the family dynamic, by changing the daily routines, there's going to be a lot of change. I personally am going through some major personal changes on an energetic level. So all of that combined has it's going to be like a tornado. I knew that going into it before we even boarded a plane. I knew that was going to happen. But the thing is, I had the choice of being sucked in the tornado, thrown around, or really work on keeping myself grounded and centered so that whatever is going around doesn't really affect me, because I know what I came here for. I know what my purpose is, and I know what I need to do to go through every single day. And then from the rest, I can be that calm in the storm, keeping everything in place. And you have the same ability. You can do the same thing. There really is so much that's still coming through here that I wanted to share. So if you have time, if you're watching this replay, if you have questions, if you have comments, if you have, experiences when you have been through anything like it, let me know. Leave a comment below and let me know if this resonates. Because why is this so important for moving forward? If we go into the practicality of it now. So let's say you're an entrepreneur and let's say you want to put yourself out there and help people change their own lives. And on the paper, you're doing everything that you need to, right? You're showing up and you're posting and you're speaking to your community. You're sending out newsletters. You're doing everything, right? Check. Everything on your to-do list is checked off. But you're still not getting results. Why is that? Because the energy that you bring in it is not quite there. And it's almost like the video that I shared, I think it was last week, when I was saying how, when you spill your heart and soul into the particular piece of content, but underlining of that is still that fear. Is it going to work? What are the people going to say? Am I going to be judged? Am I being too pushy? Can I really do that? Right? All of those things are going to be the anchors that anchor that whatever else is that you're doing, underlying thing. And people sense that. People these days, audience out there, they're freaking smart. They know what they're buying. They know what they feel. The marketing, just from a couple of years ago, it doesn't work anymore. It has to be personal. They have to feel you, and they will feel if there's something off. If there's desperation behind it, they will feel that. If you're discounting things, they will feel that. Why are you offering such deep discounts? They will question that. But above it all, right, when they are looking to have their lives changed, they want to work with somebody who has been there, who is aware of their own powers, so that person can hold the space and be the guide and the leader, and allowing them to pull them up to have the strength and authority and capacity and compassion to do the same with them, for them. So if you don't trust yourself, if you don't believe in yourself, if you don't feel good about yourself, if you don't love yourself, if you don't accept yourself as is, if there's always some condition attached to it, that's exactly what you're projecting. And then when you're bringing people in, they're just a reflection of what is that you're putting out there. So all this work, when you're peeling back the layers, seemingly has nothing to do with strategy. And you're right, it has to be done consistently, because the strategy itself, and I'm saying that as a strategist, the strategy itself is only going to get you to a particular point. But beyond that, you will really have to do the inner work first in order to accelerate the results moving forward. Otherwise, you're just going to burn out. Again, just go back and look at all the things you have been doing. Are you getting results? No. Are you going to work even harder? Probably. Is it going to work? It's almost like let's say you want to make a loaf of bread, right? And you're using, I don't know, let's say you're putting in sugar instead of the flour. Measurements, they're all correct, right? You're not going to make the dough without the flour. And you can beat up the dough as much as you want. You can add up as much ingredients as you want. You can start over and over and over again. If you have the wrong ingredient, it is not going to work. And you can pull all-nighters. You can go to any other bakery that you want. If you're following the same flawed recipe, it's not going to work, right? Because you need flour and not that sugar. So the same thing goes here with those strategies. If the ingredient, if your own energy, your own belief systems, your own patterns, your own capacity to create and the capacity to receive are flawed, are limited, it doesn't matter how hard you work, what you're putting out there, it's not going to work. So the inner work, things that trigger you, are usually the sign that there is something underneath that really need to be dug up. And only about 1% of people are actually willing to do that. For everybody else, it's just more comfortable to be safe and to keep doing what is that they've been doing, how they've been doing it. It's not painful enough yet for them to move. And then the work in itself is too uncomfortable, because sometimes you're uncovering things that go generations back. Like, I just had early lunch with my grandma. She's 87, 88. She's going to be this year, 88. And I remember when I was a kid, we would walk around the city center and she would tell me all those stories and experiences from even Second World War. That's where she was growing up. And all the hardship. And there were a couple of things that I was growing up with, believing that are to be true. In terms of relationship with men and women, relationship with siblings, relationship with extended families, relationship in terms of political climate and stuff like that. I thought they were true because it's what I've been listening to my entire life, until I noticed I am recreating some of those patterns and it no longer felt right. But what I needed to do was to tear each and every one of those apart, not necessarily calling her a liar because that was her experience, but it was not mine. So with the kids, I am so much more concerned and conscious. Oh, you're very welcome, Kathleen. Always, always, always. You know, one of the reasons why I'm so conscious and passionate about my own development is that I can create environment for the kids, my own girls, where they create their own experiences. I can guide them, I can give them the tools to cope and help them explore, but it's not on me to project my own experiences and insecurities onto them. And again, that is one of the things that my family and I don't necessarily see eye to eye because it's different culture that we were raised in. But it's my choice. And yet again, it's hard work because it requires to take apart every single thing that I stand for and I believe in, and really question it, and making sure it is true or is it a lie? Is it something that my ego's telling me? Is it one of those layers that the environment put on me, right? Or is it really something that is divine and soulful and into my essence, the truth? So there's so much more that we could share, but somebody just woke up. So I will have to get going, but I definitely will be back. And like I said, I'm sharing the good, the bad, and the ugly of this journey. And that's the only way to shatter the limits and get to the next level is through the painful, through the ugly. And at the end of the day, anyway, it's as painful and as hard as you choose it to be. So thanks for joining me, and I'll catch you soon. Bye, everyone.